it's time for a What is Japan saying about? And today's general theme is... I guess there's a bit of streamer focus. What are streamers saying, actually, about some stuff lately? There's been a couple of stream-related topics lately. And we'll be looking at what aggregate sites such as Umadori and FF14 Sokuho have been saying and gathered across the Japanese player base this week. Though keep in mind that these sites gather things from official sources, Twitter, and most often 5chan. So keep that in mind that some of these things that they say can be quite exaggerated and very emotionally charged. We're also going to talk about some other stuff, but we're going to mostly start with this one, which is a topic near and dear to my heart, fates, about people that just don't kill the maiden. It actually gets me really mad. You guys seem to get really mad. So 203 here says, I was lazily doing fates at o'clock with a PF and up and stuff. I would just ignore the maiden so people would be like, kill the maiden! And they'd care so much about the fate order and get mad when someone opens up one that they're not at. I just want to vibe and not bother changing instances, man. If you want to do all that, you make the party. And then 205 responding, well then write that in the PF, you idiot. 209 saying, people should at least kill the forlorn or maiden though. It's good for everyone. 211, and they're totally right here, ignoring maidens is just trolling. Because, for those that don't know, the forlorn maiden, so just the forlorn maiden, gives an EXP and gem buff for the next fate, 1.5 times. The big forlorn is 3 times buff, so you should also be killing that one. And this person speaking to a true other problem. I can't kill the maiden because some monkey brain player just keeps AoEing the trash, which is definitely a problem. I think it's interesting that this is definitely a... Yeah, exactly, right, Hugh? Me when they ignore the maiden's crying emoji. That is definitely the problem. Maidenless campaigns. This is true. But yeah, there's no reason not to kill the maiden, and I'm unsurprised that there are people that also are failing to kill the maiden in Japan as well. I think it's wild that this person has half a point. The idea of like, oh, I can't be bothered to change instance. Absolutely, there's no reason to instance change. I've said my piece many, many times. There's no reason to instance change. Stop bothering to change instances. Just wait for the fates to scale up. But thinking, oh, I'm just doing this like super lazily. It doesn't really matter. I don't have to kill the maiden. Why are you yelling at me? I don't care. Like, no, you are trolling, buddy. You are trolling 203. They're right. Look at the maiden. She's there. Maiden, kill the maiden. I can understand being a little frustrated with people getting... a little bit of back and forth frustration with people that are like, you're not doing the fates in the right order. I mean, I get frustrated too, because you do kind of then have to like reroute yourself, and then if people split off, it can definitely get frustrating. But I mean, if they have a PF up, right? If they have a party finder up, like, people should be moving together, right? But the idea that you can just not do the maiden because you're being lazy. No way. This is a bit of a PSA. Kill the maiden. Wait, do I have that image? I think I have that image. I forget who made this. Killing the forlorn is so sexy and cool. Please kill this thing. I'm begging you. I have to go figure out who made this, but this is this. Kill the maiden, please. But I do completely understand 3's struggle here of players just not... players not paying attention. Next, so something we were talking about a little bit before. You can't hurt the maidens against your mortal cold. Well, it's a crystal. It's a bunch of crystals. It's a giant weird crystal ghost thing. It's fine. It's not a lady. It's fine. Okay, so the next topic here we have is a little bit related to something we were talking about earlier about using controller versus keyboard and mouse as a healer. So we've got 20... Oh, that's a little highlighted too much. 26 here saying that they do, if they're gonna play controller, they'll play Sage. If they use keyboard and mouse, they'll play Scholar. 34 here is saying, like, are there even any people good at healer on controller? Yes? Yeah, yes? 36 saying, wasn't there an controller Astro player in the world race? And of course, yeah, but they're a third-party tool user. Derogatory. They use this term tsuda, as in like tool. They mean like third-party tool user, but it's like meant as a mean thing. If you're talking about the world race, there's even clickers. Oh, I think that was a Dark Knight. I mean, yeah, there are people that click their buttons because it's not about the way. It's not about the device. It's not about how you're controlling. It's about what's most comfortable for you. 43. It starts to sound like what these people would say, like whenever we hear about like the FPS gamers or whatever. This person 43 saying, in the end, you should use what's best for you, but keyboard and mouse is obviously the best. Okay, buddy. 47. Now I have 47 says that, you know, controller stands have not used keyboard and mouse. Keyboard mouse stands have tried controller. It's obvious which is more credible. I actually think this is completely the obvious. Completely the opposite. Sorry, not obvious. Opposite. I have never heard of a keyboard mouse player, at least in English. I hear very, very few keyboard mouse players that have also tried controller. Pretty much, I mean, this is also going to due to more 14 players in America or NA in Europe are going to be PC players. So their default, you know, option is keyboard and mouse rather than getting a secondary a controller for their computer, right? So at least in English-speaking communities, I think it's actually the opposite. Keyboard and mouse players basically never touch controller. It's fine if you're used to using keyboard and mouse. I think that's like the most important thing. For me, I actually find keyboard really uncomfortable. I can touch type like no problem. I can close my eyes, tippy tap, type whatever, I'm fine. But you tell me to play a game with it and I'm just fumbling. And my hands are small. It's very hard for me to use the number line because of that, which a lot of MMOs use. The most important part is what you're used to. But I just think 47 is a little bit mistaken, at least as far as the English-speaking community goes. Most people in the Western sphere have been playing on PC, so they mostly start as keyboard and mouse. And many of them never try controller. I don't know many keyboard and mouse players that have ever touched the controller version. They all think, oh, it doesn't make sense. I can't do it. They throw their hands up and think it's gonna be too hard. They throw their hands up and think it's gonna be too hard and never touch it. The answer's obvious. There's more players who swap from controller to keyboard and mouse. Again, no, not in the US. So a lot of people in the West will say like, oh, you should buy a gaming mouse. You should buy a gaming mouse. In which case, why? It's just a special controller. It's just a special controller. I'll fight on this. It's just moving the buttons to a different way. My partner has a gaming mouse, so I've tried it like a little bit. I think it's too heavy. It's really hard to move them because they're so heavy. They're super heavy, like... I don't know, like, I think they're big and heavy and I don't like them. But I think this case, at least in Japan, is because not necessarily more, but not necessarily a lot, but generally more players play PlayStation and then like move on to other things. So like PlayStation starts with the controller. And then, 54 here saying, well, I swapped from mouse to controller. And then of course we got this lovely 79 down here. Well, Japan has more controller users, so it must be better. Lamau. Nah, the most important part, you can heal on controller. Don't let a lot of Western gamer, not Western, but a decent amount of people like, oh, it sounds so impossible to heal on controller. It's you know, controller players are horrible or whatever. That's not the case. That's not the case. So, I mean, I've been raiding since Alex on controller. I've never swapped off of controller. I mean, I use keyboard and mouse for like typing or for inventory management, but I've always used I've always used controller because it's the most comfortable for me, and that's the most important thing. But the idea that healers can't be controller users, is just BS, just stupid. It's just a matter of what is most comfy for the user at hand, and if it's clicking, so be it. What matters is the result, and if you can clear, it's fine. If you can clear, if you can do stuff, and that's most comfy for you, then that's fine. If you feel like you're struggling, then you adjust. There are some people, at least in North America, that think like healing isn't possible in controllers, or that like controller players are all bad, and that's just not the case. It's just not the case. I mean, if there can be clickers doing the world race and doing well, then there can be controller players that are really good players too. you know? So the next one is one of those stream-related topics. So recently, there is Shaka doing his 14 stream, and he was... Okay, well, people were like making up comments of what people that use third-party tools might say. So we're back on we're back on that loop, right? The third-party tools discussion. So there is a video. I'm not gonna play it just because I don't feel like timestamping through it. But these aren't real comments. These aren't real people comments, but they were like pretending to be what people would say essentially. So the chat person saying, "Shaka, do you use third-party tools?" They don't have his response, but he said he's a huge anti-mod person. There's probably like DPS checkers like in Monster Hunter, right? And he explains that he puts it kind of in the same group as cheating, that devs probably hate it. And that fundamentally making a cheat that does like a bajillion damage and a DPS checker at their core requires similar things, so they're both bad. And while I don't think that's necessarily the case for 14, obviously like game to game that's going to be different. But essentially one can kind of lead to the other, and I mean that's kind of a thing that's happened. This person, this comment saying tool users think it's like a gray zone. And there was a funny point where Shaka was like, would it be better if they said it was black then? As in like no good, obviously. So this person was saying that the devs seem to be okay with it though. And Shaka responding, well, if the devs are okay with it, then it's fine. If they say it's okay, that's a completely different story, you know? People who use mods will always try to justify it as well, you know? People who use mods will try to make reasons why it's fine to use mods. This person with the, you know, I have to use the best gear and third-party tools because everybody's using them. With Shaka just responding, you know, well, I'm not, Lamau. You guys gotta stop any... The end part was pretty funny. You guys gotta stop making up comments like this. They sound too real, Lamau. There's a worry about if there could be a virus, or you know, it's not official, so there's risks involved, of course. Yeah, I mean, I remember this is maybe a while ago. Okay, so in English, in American communities, or well, I guess North American and in Europe communities, there's a tool called Mare Lamentorum. So I remember there was this one time where somebody was talking about Mare Lamentorum, right? And they were saying, oh, I had this one person come in and they had this like messed up model with Mare Lamentorum and it like crashed my game, it crashed my computer, yada yada yada. Like that's another problem that gets involved as well, especially with that sort of thing. The issue, at least on the 14 side, of course, is, you know, it's not okay. It's I mean, they even say here, like people, you know, like the dev team has said like it is not okay. You know, they said it is not okay. And at least in the West, we have this big problem of people trying to justify it. People thinking, oh, you know, well, so-and-so is using it. Oh, so, you know, these people are using it. Well, you know, all the world first racers are using it, so we have to use it to keep an edge. And of course it becomes this, like, slippery slope. It becomes a problem. And, I mean, if the devs say it's not okay, it's not okay. And at least in the West, you have a kind of a problem about people just kind of being open about it. It's like they have these like code names that they think nobody's gonna know. They're being too brazen and obvious about it. It's a problem. It's a problem. Like, look, if you want to use your aesthetic mods, like, I can't stop you. no one can stop. Well, okay, the devs can probably find a way to stop you, but I can't necessarily stop you. But I definitely think that, like, players, at least in the West, are getting a little too comfy with this idea that it's fine. That, oh, well, everybody else is using it. But, like, if it keeps getting to this point, like, people are, like, they're gonna hit a point where the dev team just has to do something. It'll be bad for everybody. It's not good. It's not good. And they shouldn't be pushing this. The comments from things, of course, you know, oh, there are really people that think that. Like, yeah, I know. This one's pretty like, I'm sorry, Shaka, I'm a dirty mod user. I was like, well, aren't third-party tools not allowed? Like, yes. This person with the most mod users, I just think, well, whatever suits you, I guess. But these people really think third-party tools are officially okay, or others asking others, like, are you using mods? I just can't wrap my head around it. They've never been made officially okay. Kind of this one. I translate it as, like, talking about mods around people who are just having fun while playing vanilla is such a faux pas. Like, you shouldn't be doing it. And then, Shaka-based bless is how I translated this one. Shaka's being based. Bless him. Alright, but our next one is an incident with a VTuber, I think is it Akemi Karubi in Stone Vigil. Now this one I do actually want to show the clip because it is very funny. Essentially they were doing Stone Vigil and they, I mean, you can tell from this picture, right? Something happened here. Something's not supposed to be here. Something's not supposed to be here. So anyway, it was in Karubi's Stone Vigil run. They know not to pull big pull into the boss room, like they know that. But they didn't realize that it was a boss. It was their first time running Stone Vigil, and they apologized for it. It didn't really make much of a difference anyway. People who've done the dungeon, you know, a million times can probably tell, but since it was Karubi's first time, she had no idea. A chat member is saying, well, it was obviously waiting by itself though. But, I mean, a mob standing by itself isn't 100% surefire way to tell it's a boss though. There are some solo trash mobs, right? I kind of summarized this one a bit, but veteran players kind of have this sort of like sixth sense. Well, it's not really a sixth sense, but they have a sense of when it's an actual boss and when it's not. But not newbies. That purple line is pretty meaningless. Like, I mean, it is kind of easy to not notice. And so a newbie won't know what it's a boss or not. The tutorial never mentions what a purple line means. And a comment saying, well, I started recently and the purple line was never explained. Apparently the healer did apologize, but they didn't notice it in the middle of everything. Anyway, there she goes. There she goes. Here she goes. And then she just crosses the purple thing and just... There she goes. I love the response from Mitsurugi, just like, damn. Sugoi na. Damn. And even Shaka was just like, absolutely insane. Some people think that they weren't using cooldowns, but they were. And apparently the healer and the bard were also pulling ahead. So... yeah, Leroy moment. Sometimes you just want to do something stupid. It's funny. It is not, honestly, it's Stone Vigils. I have to admit, now I underpull in ARR dungeons if I don't remember. I underpull in dungeons if I don't remember where the points are. Because I don't remember. I just like, hey, I'll just stop here. Sorry. It's fine. It happens. I just thought it was funny. Next we have from Sokuho about the eye highlights. 42 saying, the drawn-in highlights may have been a lie, but they were a good lie. The eyes might as well be another lie. They look dead. Awful. 0 out of 10. Bad game. I want a refund. Not literally. I'm adding, you know, the funny meme endings. This person showing a picture of the old and new model saying, "Give me back my lies." Crying face emoji. 149 saying, "Every time I see this, I can't help but laugh every time I see this cursed thing. This is horrible. I want to see this. I want to see the Aural version of this. She has 5 grandchildren now. She looks like a middle-aged mom. It's not just the character, but the background is pitch black. She's an old lady now." To me, how do I feel about the highlights? I think at points it's definitely a little weird. The lighting is the lighting. I think the problem is, I mean, like this is from... Isn't this ARR? I think they need to go back and make adjustments to the ARR and older dungeons, because definitely they've been hit the hardest with the upgrade. They've been hit the hardest. Like, you definitely start to see lighting where it really doesn't do well. But then again, I'm a Lalafell, so I don't even have, like, smile lines. I think, if they had a small drawn-in highlight, it'd be probably good if they have just a tiny little drawn-in highlight, right? Maybe, like, one small one. Lalas do have knees. Shut up. Lalas have knees. It's... What were they called? What was the race in 11? 11's characters don't have knees. Taru do not have knees. Lalafell do. Lalafell do have knees. Lalafell have knees. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Would you guys want the drawn-in highlight? I think that's the biggest... Well, the thing that impacts everybody. It's like the biggest thing that people are still harping on, that they don't like the non-drawn-in highlights. They want the drawn-in highlights because it doesn't look right, kind of thing. Lalas have souls. What are you talking about? Nah, this is Lalafell and slander. I'm gonna bonk you. And finally, our last topic today is actually, it's an article from Eurogamer. More than 90% of what we call game consoles will be... Oh, this is the... Well, where will games be in 25 years was the question. So, YoshiP said more than 90% of what we call game consoles will be gone. But there's a possibility that Nintendo might still have a platform. It should be possible to play games on all devices, and almost 100% of gaming will be on the cloud. So, definitely there will be no need to have machine power on the player's side. It'll be similar to Netflix, Amazon Prime, and it will be subscription-based. As long as you pay the subscription, you'll be able to game 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. With regards to which company would probably come out on top in terms of business, the business battle, I cannot say. Truth be told, I do have my own personal prediction, but if I say anything here, it's probably gonna get me into trouble. Let's just say that I was not asked about that. Also, apparently on the show Paja Pico, is that it? Yeah, Paja Pico. YoshiP states that he thinks consoles will be gone as we know them in 15 to 17 years, and that cloud gaming will be the way of things. I think I vaguely alluded to my opinions on the cloud gaming, but... Anyway, so 2 here saying, I guess it's a fair prediction, but I wonder how PlayStation will go since its internet is kind of weak. 14 saying, the idea of that cloud gaming would mean you could use a weaker machine is a lie though, which... Isn't that the case? Like, even if you have cloud gaming, don't you still need, like, a kind of decent-ish machine? I mean, heck, you need internet, right? I'm picking a fight with Sony and Microsoft? Was it 26? Yeah. Sony and Microsoft are companies that can't make money on their own platforms, as in consoles, essentially, and rely on other means to stay afloat, which is true. Sony and Microsoft will probably die, honestly. They are struggling to stay afloat, right? And then some PCs would have to stop existing first. No? And then 28 pointing out that people that they know don't have PCs, they just have phones or tablets. And 36 saying consoles are already dead. And 41 saying it's not that far, but I think consoles will be gone in like 5 years. And 42 saying, well, I mean, at this point, 2 of them are already kind of dead. And 45 saying that they don't think cloud gaming will ever be mainstream, though. With 55 expanding on it, like, yeah, exactly. Developed countries are one thing, but some just don't have the infrastructure for it. I mean, heck, the US is developed and doesn't have the infrastructure for cloud gaming half of the place in a lot of places. The idea that cloud gaming, like, maybe in Japan, cloud gaming could pop off, but I don't think so much outside of places with strong infrastructure, and the US doesn't even count in that regard. Square Enix will be dead in 25 years. 60, Square Enix been moving to multi-platform releases, including on Nintendo systems. It just depends on how they continue going forward. And 63 is saying, I hope Square Enix is alive in 25 years. Lamau. And at the very end, 103, well, the end of the day included, 103 kind of saying, like, you know, Yoshida does well when thinking long term. And that they hope that their efforts continue to bear fruit. And they have a point, like, yeah, YoshiP is, I mean, YoshiP was able to deal with ARR. The gamers that actually buy the consoles now, or buy these sorts of bigger releases, I think that they're gonna be, like, against cloud gaming. Right? I think that they'll struggle with the idea of moving to cloud gaming. I mean, a lot of people are really unhappy with the idea of not owning their games. Obviously, the general populace or casual, I don't want to say casual gamers, but people that aren't, like, super into buying so many different games or what have you, or younger people, they might come up with a different idea and feeling towards cloud gaming, or at the very least not owning their games, so to speak. But I think the idea of cloud gaming is going to be really hard to sell when, for some people, their internet just won't be able to manage. And that's, you know, I mean, I can't imagine. My internet would get spotty when I was in Japan at like 9, 10 o'clock some days. I can't imagine trying to game at that point. I can't even, like, craft on 14. You want me to play, like, a game on the internet? You want me to play a game where my internet speed determines my capability of playing? I don't think so. I don't think cloud gaming can expand until countries, like, fundamentally put money and power into their internet infrastructure. Like, unless they make good internet infrastructure, there's no way cloud gaming could be ever comparable. That's why I say maybe in Japan, but it's not like Japan has perfect internet either. The idea of there not really being consoles, yes, I can agree with. But cloud gaming, I think that one's a bit more... I think that one might be a bit more than 25 years out. You know, I think that one's a little bit further out. And not because of not because of the game industry, but because of countries and internet infrastructure is the thing that I think it's a little too far out. See, mobile networks supporting cloud gaming, I mean, I feel like that's a way that would be dangerous, wouldn't it? I know, so when I lived in Japan, I had to... Well, maybe it's different now, but my plan was I had a limited amount of data. I don't know. Maybe mobile networks can handle cloud gaming, but I mean, essentially they kind of already are. Finally, the last thing we're going to talk about today is the Primals concert, which I watched, obviously. Ardbert was the narrator for the Primals Live in Japan Darkest Before Dawn. I don't remember half of what he said. I'm sorry. I didn't double check what he said. Ardbert's Japanese voice actor was saying, like, oh, were you surprised? Laughs. And a player asked Natsuko if she wrote the Ardbert dialogue for the narration, and yes, she did. She confirmed that she wrote the dialogue. Oh yeah, and Ardbert was trending. So the trending topics from the Primals concert, Final Fantasy XIV, Ardbert, Time Stop, Yokohama Arena, and Soken-san. What do you guys think this song is? What song do you think this chat message is from? Why do you think they're spamming bread? I'll give you guys a second to think about this. I legitimately couldn't figure it out for like a second, even when I'm listening to what the song was. I actually had I was like, why are they fucking spamming bread? The answer is Leviathan, because it's pronounced Panya-sang, and Leviathan, when spoken really fast, sounds Leviathan, Panya-sang. I kind of lost. I was like, what? Eh? Why are they posting bread emoji? Oh. During, what song was this? Give It All, we've got a lovely Please Bring DPS to Skip Sunrise. Macro Taskaru. Thank you for the macro. P4, this is P4's macro. They posted a macro every single raid fight, by the way. Even Alex. This one, this art I drew. I drew this art because Gun song Be My Honey. Oh yeah, Omega Real. They had a little drone. It had some really fun shots. They had a little drone that they slapped the Omega face onto. Omega Real. Next, we have Yoko Taro's tweet. A picture with Soken-san after the concert. Don't look at my nipples. Thanks for the concert. Thanks, Yoko Taro. Really, thanks. We got this lovely picture of YoshiP that was like directly behind somebody. Himezuru here. Here is a picture of Nanjo's beautiful Suzaku style outfit by the Nanjo staff. Ugh, it's so pretty. Her outfit was really pretty. Like, it was really pretty. Here is some lovely art by Lala of Nanjo's outfit, which is absolutely really pretty. Really pretty. A lovely honeybee. And then this one. Oh yeah. So during it, they shouted like, "Say something, YoshiP!" And YoshiP is just like screaming, "Thanks for coming, give me a mic!" And Eikichi just like laughing, like shaking, but like just clapping. Beautiful. As for the set list, just to cover what the set list was, it was Dawn Trail, Escape, Hicks Vent Leones, Scream, Be My Honey with Gun on vocals, Give It All with Amanda as vocalist, Dedicated to Moonlight and Oblivion. Both of those. Oh, Dedicated to Moonlight had the violinist. Oblivion has Gun vocals. Sunrise and Wayward Daughter brought out Nanjo-san. I think we're here. Yeah. And then Shadowbringers brought out Jason. And then the second image on day 1 was Close in the Distance with Jason on vocals. You can see this version, the day 1 version on the archive. And day 2, however, they performed To the Edge, also with Jason's vocals. Flow was performed, this is a typo, by Amanda. And next they had on day 1 was Through the Maelstrom, the Leviathan Panya-san meme from before. And on day 2, however, they performed Metal. 15th song was Fiend, then was Titan Under the Weight. 17 was the classic Longfall, and 18 was Endwalker. Then was the Encore, where it was a lovely Alexander marathon with Metal, Brute Justice version, Rise, and Locust. It was a really good concert, and don't forget that if you guys wish to, you can go onto their Stream Pass, which is linked on the Lodestone, to pay about 4,000 yen to view the archive stream. Yes, Meme Dance with Longfall with new dancers. They actually performed during, which was the last song? Endwalker? They also performed during Endwalker. They actually had pretty much everybody. No, wait, no, was it Locust? Endwalker had Jason and Amanda, and they also brought in the violinist, whose names I'm blanking on. I'm sorry. They had all of them performing, and then I think the dancers did come out for part of it. The dancers came out later as well. The dancers seemed to learn a variety of emote dances as well to perform with, which was very fun. But yeah, if you would like to view the day 1 version, so that is with Close in the Distance and Through the Maelstrom, you can on their Stream Pass until October 7th at midnight Japan Standard Time, which is October 7th at 8 a.m. Pacific Time or 3 a.m. GM. So if you'd like to take a watch, I really recommend it. It was a lot of fun. It was a really good performance. They did do the, it was also had YoshiP sounding, "Give me a mic!" from the top of his lungs. was actually really hard to hear. I didn't know what it was saying until somebody typed it out. But yeah, I do recommend taking a listen. The Give It All performance by pronouncing it the Japanese way, by Amanda was really good as well. She had 2 different outfits too, by the way. She had one for Give It All and one for Flo and Endwalker. That was very fun. But with that, those are the topics I have for this time. If you'd like to see more, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe on the YouTube side for the video when this is actually made into a video. I live stream on both YouTube and Twitch almost every day and record these live every other week on Sundays. And with that, I will be saying goodbye to the YouTube video future crew. So, oyasa Mimi, bye-bye, future YouTube crew. I'm pressing the button, the stop button on the record button. Okay!